Hi everyone and welcome back to Extra Roly. Welcome back to the channel. If you are wondering who I am, hello, I am Roly, piercing body modification Reddit person here on the internet. Subscribe. This is my extra channel. This is my second channel where we do a little bit more sort of laid back videos and not so highly edited. My last video, I did a Q&A video and essentially I asked for loads of questions. And of course, I knew that I was going to get so many questions regarding my tattoo journey and piercing and all that stuff that I kind of saved them for a separate video because I was like, let's just do other things as well in that first Q&A. First of all, I want to just talk about the most painful experience that I've ever been through in my entire effing life, and that was getting my nipple tattooed. Oh god, so if you can see here, this bit is very fresh at the moment. I just got the rest of my left boob tattooed. If you saw what I was before, you could see there was a little bit of a gap there, so it was slightly driving me a bit insane starting to see it. And of course this bit here, we're going to be doing that side next time, because now that so much of my stomach is covered, these little gaps that I had sort of like around the chest area was always just starting to like really annoy me. So I was like, look, I'm dreading it, so let's just do my tit. It looks great. If you don't know what this is, so I put 2 pumpkins and the monkey's paw from the Simpsons Halloween special 2. Now, this is obviously my Simpsons, like my Simpsons spooky side. It comes onto my chest as Krusty and Bart is a raven and stuff. It was a bit of a weird shape, and I did really want to put the monkey's paw somewhere because the first 4 Halloween specials are my favorite ones. I think Marge is the only, I can't remember what number this was from, but Marge here is the only one that's not from at least the first 4 Halloween specials. All the other ones are 1 to 4. But I really wanted to put the monkey's paw somewhere. Of course, when you go to tattoo your nipples, they're always going to be known as like one of the most painful places to get done. And I knew that it was going to be horrible. So I was like, right, if we put the monkey's paw here, the wrist bit of it is like solid black basically with fur, whatever. And I was like, right, if we place it here, you'll be able to black out the nipple, go over it really quickly. There's no details. You don't have to worry about trying to put like shadowing and all that stuff over it. It's literally just, you can black it out. I put like a little design together, and I always really wanted pumpkins as well. As a Halloween spooky person, I've always wanted to at least put a pumpkin somewhere. And for the shape that we had, it was a bit of a weird shape, so I couldn't really put anything too big or like majorly detailed. So we were like, why don't we put some pumpkins there to kind of fill the space? He did the stencil. Well, he didn't stencil, sorry. He drew on my body because he's like a freehand tattoo artist. So he draws basically everything. So like all the stuff you see on my arm and my chest and on my stomach, he's not used a stencil once. He's literally got pens and he'll draw on my body, draw all the designs out. So everything is like completely hand drawn. None of this is just like put, you know, stencil from something, which is makes it 100% unique, which is nice. My closest experience of getting my nipple tattooed was the little monster guy here in the bubble, and it kind of comes all the way down to the nipple. And even him just kind of going on that bit when he did that, I was like, God, this is going to be agony. So just doing this whole section here was already painful enough. Just getting like some of the coloring and shadow shading done. He was like, right, are you ready? And I was like, my God, really dreading this time. So he does have this, like, he had like a little numbing spray, but it's one of those ones that you need to like fully open the skin first. It's not numbing cream, because we did consider, I was like, shall I just like stop being a proud bastard and just like use some numbing cream? But of course, when you use numbing cream, it does change the texture of the skin because of course it needs to sit on the skin, soak it in. It's a little bit like if you go into like the bath for too long and your skin goes a little bit funny, like it goes a bit sort of like almost strange. It looks a bit weird because it's soaked up so much water. And so I was like, no, I don't want to do that, because if some of the ink and stuff comes out, we're gonna have to go over it again, because it's very common with numbing cream stuff that the healing process is a bit different. Let's just not do it. But he does have the spray, but for it to properly work, you have to at least go through the pain quite a lot before the numbing spray will even work, because the skin needs to be open. He got the needle and he gently sort of touched my nipple, and it really just made my whole body went into like really made me like jolt. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like it was like non-consensual. It was like a non-consensual jolt of my body. It just did it without me wanting to. I know this is a bit TMI, right? I absolutely hate people touching my nipples. I know to some people it can be a sensual experience. I absolutely hate it. It makes me feel sick, and I don't know why. It's been like that ever since I can remember. But what made it even worse was about 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I got both of my nipples pierced. Now, I had quite flat, small nipples beforehand, and so she had to go quite deep in my nipple to get it to fit in properly because I had nothing really protruded. They were quite flat. My piercer at the time had to kind of go quite slightly more in the areola area, like deeper, because that was the only way I could get them in. And I loved them. They never healed. My body hated it. I just think maybe the shape of my nipple just wasn't really great for it, but we tried fine. And since having them pierced, the scar tissue on the inside has like hardened a bit, and now they protrude a lot more than they did before. I mean, still nothing compared to other people. Like, I don't feel like my nipples are that noticeable, but for me and for what they used to be, I really noticed them. And also, after the scar tissue healing and stuff inside, they're even more sensitive. It's very common for people when they get nipple piercings for your nipples to feel extra sensitive. Mine are ultra sensitive now, so I just hate people touching them. It makes my stomach like feel really queasy. And also, again, some people enjoy it. I hate it. Don't touch my nipples. Especially if I'm with someone and we're engaging in the the lewd activities, if they do that, I instantly get turned off. It makes me feel so unwell. So him just touching the nipple with a needle, it sent like a shockwave through my body, and I was like, oh my god, my stomach went. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe someone can explain this to me, why it makes me feel so sick when people touch my nipples. I hate it. But I was like, sorry. So I sort of lay down again, and I knew exactly what he was going to do now. And he was like, are you ready again? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can to just kind of at least open the layer so the numbing spray will work. And so he went like a few times, and I felt my soul leave my body. I do not make noise when I get tattooed. I'm very good at hiding. I have a good pain threshold, like pain tolerance, but I'm also very good at, like, if something is really painful, I'm very good at just being like, I'm fine. That meme of the dog sitting in the house fire, I can literally be like that. This, on the other hand, I audibly made like a sound, and my other hand, because I wanted to film it. I was going to get my phone and I wanted to film it, but after that one little jab, and he, like, when I jolted, I was like, I can't film it. And I was also like, I'm gonna look so ugly. And my other hand was like, ooh, and I was like, oh my, and I was like, oh my god. And at this point, me and my tattoo artist Hyro, we're actually really good friends, so I was able to be like, ew, oh my god, bitch. And I was like, right, you need to stop. I was like, please stop for 2 seconds. And we did try to spray it, the numbing stuff, I can't remember what it's called now, but the numbing stuff we had, we tried to spray it a little bit. It was so painful that even with the slight numbing, it still wasn't really doing anything. And of course, the skin needs to be really open. Again, the skin needs to be really open for it to properly settle in and work. Even just those little bits that he did, it just wasn't enough, because, like, of course, the needle's not literally opening up everything. It's little tiny holes. So it only sort of like numbed ever so slightly bits of it, but everything else was still really painful. So he carried on going, and I just had to basically like grit my teeth. And I was like, just go again. And I was grunting a bit. I was staying still, like, after the first time, because I was more prepared, I think. I was staying still. We eventually did it. And I didn't realize as well, watching him tattoo parts of my body, I can see how quickly the ink sits in the skin. Watching him go over the nipple, I kept looking down when he was doing it, because I watched him do it, because I find it hurts less if I watch it. I was watching him do it, and I was like, why is the ink not sitting? I was like, why is the ink not staying? And he had to go over quite a few times before, like, the black ink fully felt black. And then even later on down the line, he was like, well, I'm just going to check it, and we could see little bits that were still missing. I don't know what it is about the nipple skin. He was like, it's very common for the nipple to be a bit harder to get the ink in, whereas like other skin, because even being like around it, I can see the black ink going in perfectly fine, or the colored ink or whatever, but the nipple just didn't hold the ink as easy, so he really had to go in loads of times. Yeah, it was absolute agony. Up until this point, my right shoulder blade was the worst. That was like 11 out of 10. My nipple was 15 out of 10. That was absolutely the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. One thing I will say, it has been very eye-opening to experience all this tattoo pain. It's really showed me like how much I can cope with, and I don't feel like I'm as scared of, and this sounds stupid, but I don't feel as scared of like things that might hurt you. I'm not saying I will walk around going, I'm going to get punched in the face or something, but experiencing pain as much as I have, especially now with the nipples, I just feel like some things that I would have been like, oh, I wonder how awful that would be, or if I was to get this thing, or if I was to get that thing, or if I was to get hit or like attacked or something. Like, I always think that I'm like, well, I know I can cope with a lot more. It's a very eye-opening experience when you go through quite severe pain. This probably makes no sense. I think if you're someone who's been really tattooed, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you've not gone through it, it's hard for me to really put into words, but I feel very different about myself and what I can sort of cope with and deal with and how I look at things. I'm very happy with how it is. So yeah, this is the monkey's paw. It's from Halloween Special 2. Homer gets like a little monkey's paw and it gives him like 4 wishes and then, you know, bad things happen. It's, you know, it's one of those classic horror stories. Really, really happy. I love the pumpkins as well. It fits really nicely and I'm very, very excited to carry on. But nipple tattoos is 15 out of 10. Worst thing I've ever gone through. At least my nipples are kind of small. So I can't imagine what it must be like for people who have like larger nipples, larger areola areas or whatever. Because that, oh, Jesus Christ. I can't even imagine doing more of that. My other nipples not too big, but they are a bit more sensitive now since getting it pierced though. I don't regret my nipple piercings, but I don't think I understood how, like, I was told that they could be more sensitive, but being told that nothing really prepares you for what it'll actually feel like, because I don't think I realized it was going to be this sensitive after getting it done. Never healed very well. Now my nipples look a bit weird, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to cover them up. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And like, if you don't want to do it, fine. But if you've got 1 or 2 tattoos, it's fine. But if you're someone who's like fully covering your front, it kind of depends on your skin color, because if you're someone who is very pale like me, I have like pink colored nipples as well. So if I was to do like black and gray everywhere, my nipples would stand out so much because it's just like pink color. I think if you're someone like me who's getting loads and loads of color, if I was to miss out my nipple, I don't think it would be as jarring because everything else is like rainbow. It won't be as much. But if you're someone who's just getting black and gray and you got pink nipples, it would look really strange. I just really wanted to cover them. I don't want any part of my body still showing, but normal skin color. I want it to be like tattooed. I always wanted to do it. I was just putting it off because I was so nervous about the pain. But not only that, it's also afterwards cleaning everything. So we're on day 3 now. Cleaning it, the first couple of days, even just like cleaning it was so painful because it not only is it like an open wound and it's very sensitive, it's then being sensitive because it's also hypersensitive. Just like cleaning it with the soap and things and drying it, it's like every time I'd like sort of go over the nipple bit, I'm like absolutely horrible. So just be prepared that if you are going to tattoo your front, your nipples are going to hurt so effing much. If you want to use numbing cream and stuff, I do not blame you whatsoever. I in a way wanted to kind of experience the pain because I feel like, I don't know, I am in no way shape or form someone who's into like pain play or anything like that. I think that's absurd to me, but I did kind of want to understand what it did feel like. I'm glad that I sat through that. Oh, the cat's meowing. Can you hear that? Yes? I miss Longitudes. I've got to be very careful because I can't get her fur anywhere near my chest. I miss Longitudes. Miss babies. She is shedding at the moment though. It's because it's starting to spring started now, right? She's really been shedding over the past couple of days. So there was fur everywhere. But she hates me brushing her. I have like a proper cat brush to help me with that. My other cat, Globex, doesn't shed. He's a kind of, Arabian Mouse don't really shed. And ever since having him, I've never really had to worry about it. But Linguo, she is a shedder. And yeah, unfortunately, she hates getting brushed. And I'm like, this is so annoying. Like, I can't brush the fur off you because you hate it. This is a stupid little thing. So someone commented on my channel, you have to put a little Where's Wally somewhere in your, well, they said Waldo. You have to put a Where's Wally somewhere in your tattoos. And I was like, I am going to be doing that. I've got a little gap here on my chest here. You can see a little tiny bit of here. So we're going to put like a little Where's Wally in there. I thought it was so stupid. I absolutely love, I keep meaning to buy. I've seen like a huge book that they do. They sell it in one of the libraries near my house. Libraries? Bookstores. All of the Where's Wally books, original ones, like all 5 of them, all into one. I have to get it. I was so obsessed with it when I was younger. So I'm glad the person suggested it because I was like, oh my God, that is like perfect. I absolutely love it. And I was like, well, there's a nice little space there. Future plans for tattoos. So on this side, this part is a bit of a weirder shape. So this part was a little bit easier because it was almost just like a little bit of a triangle. Whereas this side, it is a slightly more awkward shape. I am putting Raziel from Soul Weaver and Voldo from Soul Calibur, and they're going to go here. And they're going to be, I could have put more things, but I want to like put these two a little bit bigger. So we're going to put them like here and here. And I just need to work out how I'm going to incorporate them into this little section. I want to do the same thing where it's one color on my nipple, just so again, it less trauma. So I don't know exactly how we're going to completely fill this in. I've got to put a little bit more ink here because I've scarred a tiny bit here. When I remember when I healed this, I went to the gym too quickly afterwards and I pulled the skin and I scarred a tiny bit here. I mean, it's fine, we can go over it and like cover it up, but yeah, just be when your tattoo's healing, you have to spend so much time off the gym and it's so annoying. So I'm pretty much like, so much of my front now is done. There's not really much left to do. We've got Nightmare Foxy here. But we're gonna do this side next just so I can get it over with, and then we'll do the Foxy. I do also have a lot of space where where this ends here. I actually have a lot of space before you get to the genitaliers. So we could probably actually put one or two things underneath there. So we're gonna put a few things going down there. I don't want like a harsh line, like a triangle around my, groin. So I wanna make sure there's like a few characters, but also then sort of, I guess, not tendrils, but a little bit like what we've done here, with if you see like the little sort of like flick lines and stuff. The same one I'm doing with my back of my head. When I get my neck tattooed, I'm going to get the tattoo to go a little bit up the back of my head. Not too high, but just enough so it's not like just, a line going around my neck, because I don't want anything on my face. So they'll kind of go like up here and like I haven't shaved my head for a long time. Hello, I'm balding. I want it to kind of like go up here a little bit, just so it's not like a straight line. So I have answered this next thing quite often, but I still get it just because I guess people don't see everything, is am I going on my face? Yes, so I'm not going on my face at all. So the top of my head and my face will be completely empty. I will be doing my neck, but I will be getting my moles removed first. And I'm doing Doom on my neck. So the game Doom, I'm doing it on my neck. I absolutely love Doom. I cannot wait for the new one. I think they said it's May. Is Doom coming out in May? Cannot wait. It's going to be great. I'm very, very excited. This is going to be Doom. So what I've decided is originally I was going to get Hyro to kind of like just fill in these bits here, just so it kind of makes the neck frame more. But I quite like the odd shapes of things. So what I might do is get Vinius, who's going to be doing my neck. He's a really good artist. I'll put his thing here, as you can see. I'm going to kind of let him have this sort of weird space. He has my neck, but he also has like some of the space here, so that he can kind of, I guess, experiment a bit with the space. And because he's a really good designer, he like basically designs everything himself. So I'm going to send him all the characters I want and make him kind of just do his own like, sort of, I guess, his version of them, and then put them around my neck, but nothing on my face and nothing on my head. I love my head being like completely normal. I love my, I hate face tattoos, so I'm never gonna get my face tattooed. We are currently doing my back. So as you can see, I've got part of the Master Chief's head done, and I do have the Arbiter. The Arbiter on my back has been basically done. Now what we're doing is, I was meant to have a double session with him a couple weeks ago. We weren't able to do the second day because unfortunately he was unwell. So that's why the mask is like unfinished. Because normally when I do a session, I show it on Instagram. I've not shown anyone this yet. So you're the first ones to see it. I've not actually shown anyone that yet. So yeah, I'm seeing him on the 24th now. So we've managed to make another day. So I'm going to do that. And what we're going to do then is we're going to do the rest of his head, some of the bottom here, and we're going to fill in like all the rest of the shoulder bit, like all across here where the blank stuff is. So we should be able to get that done in a day, because he works so fast. He's so quick at what he does. He's so incredible. He also does go down onto my bottom, because I've got some of it done. My right side, I have a little bit going up onto my cheek, but my left side, sort of half of my bum is done because I got a scream mask on it. So we kind of want to fill that space up with some of the halo background, and I think some of the one of the jackals, some of their body's going to go down on one side. I would say I'm going to be about 80% covered. I would say, how much percentage would you say? So look at me now, right? So I've got this, obviously, both of my arms, oh, I can't lift this arm very well. This hand's done. My back, both of my legs are fully covered, all the way up, literally all the way up to parts of like even the bum being done, up right way up to my hips. I would say I must be 70%, maybe, has to be 70% covered. 70? Would you say 70? Mr. Globbies is here just like lying down. I wish I could explain to them how lucky they are that I work from home. Like I think about pet owners and like how so many pets, and like this is absolutely fine, by the way. I'm not, this isn't me saying it's bad, because like that's just life. But like for a lot of pet owners, obviously a lot of pets have to be on their own for the day while their owners are at work, you know, making a living so they can feed them. These cats are so lucky that I'm in all day. So sometimes when they're being like, pay me attention, I'm like, you are so lucky. Like when I'm literally in the middle of like editing and I really need to focus, and I really wish you'd understand how lucky you are that I'm here all the time, because I give you so much attention throughout the day. I've also was asked a few times what's like the pain scale of all the tattoos that I, you know, have now. What's the top and the bottom? So definitely the bottom, things like 1, 2 out of 10 is here on my arm. The shoulder, especially like here, is basically nothing. I can sit for hours and hours and hours. Slightly more painful, maybe a 3 out of 10 is the forearm here. This middle bit's about a 5, I would say. And the elbow can be about a 6. It depends on it honestly depends sometimes how much sleep I've had, how much food I have. If I'm a bit more tired, it obviously hurts more. Fingers themselves, like the finger sections, that's a solid 7. But the top of the hands, I would say about 5. When it comes to the legs, it's very different. Parts of the bum that I've got done, that was about a 6 out of 10. Part of it, I do have stretch marks and they really hurt, and that would be up to about an 8. Upper thighs, outer thighs, right at the top, 3 out of 10. Inner thighs, 5 out of 10. The kneecaps, 5 out of 10. The knee ditch, I would say that was about a 7. Lower calf, that was about an 8. Mine really hurt actually. Shin section, the front path, that was about a 6. We've done parts of my foot and that was about a 7. It kind of hurts a little bit more than the top to hands, I would say. Left shoulder blade has been about a 6 out of 10. My right shoulder blade was an 11 out of 10. I don't know why my right shoulder blade hurt so much. That was absolute agony, and I do not understand why that hurt so much. It was sending pain down my side, to my nipple, to my back, to my leg. Like, I don't know what it was. I guess because all my nerves are connected somehow, mostly in my right shoulder blade. Because like, of course your spine is connected, but we didn't even go onto the spine. So I don't know why. I mean, I've got some of my spine done now, but I don't know why my right shoulder blade was like a solid 11 out of 10. As I said, my nipple, solid 6, solid 15 out of 10. All of this down here, the Waluigi wasn't too bad, but this lower section, that was an 8 out of 10. My stomach, 8 out of 10. My chest, most of my chest, I would say is about a 7 out of 10. My sternum section, though, this part here in the middle, that's a solid 9 out of 10. That's really horrible. That's my sort of pain rating so far. Another question I was getting quite a lot is how has my body reacted to different types of inks? Now, I've been very lucky that I haven't really had an issue with ink colors. The only one that I've had a tiny problem with was a dark red color that we used originally on the Homer Simpson, where the darker sections is. We used like a darker pigment, like a darker red pigment, and my body didn't like it very much. It didn't do anything like majorly bad. It just took an extra week to heal, and it was a little bit more like gooey. It don't know, it didn't hurt or anything more, but you could definitely see that my body was like finding it harder to heal it. I also got asked a lot, why does color tattooing, why are people so afraid of getting color tattoos? Now, color tattoos do age differently than black and gray, but I think a lot of people do think that color tattoos just age absolutely terribly, and they don't take into consideration how the person is taking care of themselves. If you are someone who does loads of tattooing, but doesn't moisturize, doesn't drink lots of water, doesn't keep themselves healthy, like bakes their skin in the sun, your tattoos are going to age terribly. And that'll also happen to black and grey tattoos. So many people think like, you know, black and grey are like invincible and colour tattoos are going to age so awful, like so terribly. That's not the truth. That's just not the truth. Yes, UV and other colours react differently to sunlight than black and grey does. But as long as I wear like SPF 50 all the time. I wear my daily moisturiser I put on my face has factor 50 sun cream in it. Like, I wear sun cream all the time if I'm out in the sun, and if I am out in the sun for long periods of time, I'll wear a long sleeve. My tattoos are going to age wonderfully because I take care of myself. So a lot of people, don't be scared of getting color tattoos, because it'll only age badly if you don't look after them. As long as you're going to a tattoo artist who knows what they're doing, you'll be fine. Just look after your skin, drink water, stay hydrated, moisturize. Don't just let your skin dry out for everything. Don't bake your skin in the sun. Don't get sunburned. Do actually take care of yourself, and your tattoos will age fine. I can show you many photos of terribly aged black and grey tattoos. Please don't be scared of colour tattoos. Also, when people go, but what happens if it doesn't go with these types of colours? And what happens if it doesn't go? If you're saying things like, what happens if it doesn't go with this? I don't feel like you're ready to get tattooed to begin with. If you want a tattoo, just do it. None of this, oh, but it won't go with this and it won't go with that. If you're going, well, it won't go with this, it won't go with that, just don't get them. I mean, I know for me it's different because my entire body is like basically rainbow. So, you know, it doesn't really clash with anything because it clashes with itself. Please don't be scared of getting them as well because you don't think it's going to go with clothing you might wear. Like no one is going to care that you've got a colourful arm with wearing a red dress. People are going to go, I love your tattoos. They're not going to go up to you and go, that dress doesn't match your arm. That is 100% in your head and in your head only. That to me, that's silly. That's really silly. Just like no one is going to say, come up to you and be like, that doesn't go with that. And if anyone ever did that, just tell them to off. Also, please remember that like if you actually walk down the street, it's very rare to see people with really colorful tattoos, especially to my level where they're so covered. And one thing I didn't do it for this reason. One thing I really love is if I go somewhere, people remember me. People don't remember people just have black and grey tattoos. Like it's so common to see. Like if you go down the street, you can see hundreds of people with the same black and grey tattoos all the time. You don't really see people looking like me. I like the fact that it's unique. You have so much more possibilities when you do color. I mean, they fit me better. I think it'd be really weird if I was just covered in black and grey because I'm such a sort of loud, effervescent person. I always get asked quite often still, like even now, and I think like, this is probably people who don't really understand me or don't understand what I've done, and they say like, do I have any tattoo regrets? And again, waited until I was in my 30s before I started because I wanted to make sure that everything I was doing was exactly what I wanted. I would understand if I was like 21 or something being asked that, but like I've got my tattoos as a fully grown adult in my 30s where I knew exactly what I wanted. I'd understand if I got them when I was 21 and now you're asking me because I'm like, would I agree with the stuff I did in 21? But now that I'm in my 30s and I know exactly what my aesthetic is, what I love, I've had the same idea now, what I wanted for over a decade. So the fact that hasn't changed, I don't regret anything. Yes, if we started from the very beginning and didn't have any of this, would I change one or two things? Probably. I don't know. Like it's hard to tell. I would still have every character that I have on me now would also be on me again. If I had to redo it all, I would do all the same characters. They'd probably be maybe in slightly different positions, not because I don't like where they are, but it'd be very difficult to replicate everything exactly the same. I'd probably be like, oh, do you know what? Maybe move this a bit to the right and we could put that there. Like for my arm, for example, it's very full, but if I did something again, we could probably have put something else here instead of background, but I also don't hate this. So it's one of those things that we can, it's not like a regret, but maybe things would be slightly different, but every character I've got on me would also be put back on me if I was to start again. A lot of questions I also got was about how I found my tattoo artists. So I found Hyro, who does Hyro's the one who does my stomach and my front and everything. I found him just literally his website. I just typed in London, color tattoo artist, cartoon tattoo artists. His website came up, and Vulcan I found through Instagram. I don't remember exactly how I found him. I think one of his tattoo works came up on my page and I'd saved him for a long time, and in my mind I was like, I'll look at him at some point when I start getting tattoos. And then I contacted him like much later down the line being like, oh, I really like your stuff, can we potentially work together? And of course I then looked at reviews of the people, I looked at the other work, I looked for healed work to make sure that it was all good. I think make sure that when you're looking for tattoo artists, look for healed work. Some tattoo artists are very good making their tattoos look wonderful to begin with. If you're doing like fine line work, that stuff doesn't age very well. So a lot of these people will show these amazing little fine line work, tattoo art work. 5 years down, not even 5 years, a few years down the line, 1 or 2 years, it ain't gonna look amazing. Also, like the micro-realism tattoos, but you see a lot of people have those sort of like little dogs or little cats on their arms, and they look very cute when they're first done. And I love them. I think they look so cute. When you start putting so much detail into small pieces, it just ages really badly. So make sure that you do look for healed work. And also, if you're someone who's got a darker skin tone, try to look out for someone who has done work on, what matches more to your skin tone. Don't look at someone who just got like, if you're quite dark skinned, don't look at someone who's just got loads of white people doing it, because they might not understand how to tattoo on different skin tones. Don't be afraid to ask people or even just influencers that you might not necessarily be friends with. You can just message them, like, is there any chance you could let me know who did your tattoos? Like, you know, there's no harm in asking people, so please don't be afraid to ask. Another question I get also a lot, another question that was in that was like, how do I know I'm not being ripped off with the tattoos? And again, the only this is one of the only questions I find really difficult to really answer, because America, like the United States of America, seems to charge so much more money than what we do here in the UK. And even compared to like London prices, I have found hearing about America and what they're charging, some of it seems obscene just for like the smallest piece of artworks. It's hard for me to tell you exactly what is a good and isn't a good price. If something does seem too good to be true though, take that as a red flag. Pricing is very different because again, different countries have different, you know, the inflation rate's very different, conversion rates are different. So I can't really tell you what's a good and what isn't a good price. So what's the best way to prepare? Make sure that you sleep a lot the night before, go to bed early. What I tend to do is on tattoo days, after 6 p.m, I don't eat anything for the rest. I make sure I get all of my food in. That sounds stupid. I've got a real routine now of when I get tattooed. The day before, I will have all of my meals and make sure that I don't eat anything else after 6 p.m. I also don't have any caffeine after 6 p.m. Make sure that I don't have anything in my body so when I go to bed, I'm really sleepy by then. And like, you know, I'm not trying to like shoving loads of food in my body, giving myself energy. Like I make sure I eat a good amount of food, my still daily intake of things, but I just squash it down a little bit. I drink a shit ton of water throughout the day. I have a nice big breakfast. I also order myself takeout when I go get tattoos, just because nice big carby, you know, proteinous food, wonderful. Don't try to be like on a diet when you're getting tattooed. Don't try to be like, oh, I must stick to my macros. No, have a binge day. Have a day where you just stuff yourself, give yourself lots of comfort food, just like really just give yourself everything your body could possibly need. Take some painkillers with you, take some paracetamol, ibuprofen or something. It doesn't numb the pain, but it just at least helps some of the achiness. You know, don't drink alcohol the night before. Don't drink alcohol on the day. Don't do anything that's going to thin your blood. Make sure that you're not off your tits. Don't take drugs beforehand. Although, of course, I'm not a tattoo artist, so I don't have to deal with this. But please, wash yourself. Give yourself a nice, lovely hot shower before, or a bath. Soak your pussy, soak your asshole, soak your dick. Like, clean everything out. Don't be smelly. Wash your armpits. Put some nice deodorant on. Because if a tattoo artist has to be near you all day like this and you stink, I've heard many horror stories and it's not fun. So wash your hole, especially if they're going to be in an area that has smells. Like if they're going to be tattooing, you know, your upper leg, upper thigh, like towards your genitals, your asshole, make sure that you're nice and clean. I mean, you should do it anyway, but there are some people that are kind of gross who are like, well, I don't wash this because the water just goes down and washes it. No, it doesn't. Water trickling down from the top to your bottom is not washing you. And please know that tattooing also can be quite boring. As much as even with me, and I've been hanging out with Vulcan and Hyro now a lot over the past couple of years, there are times where I am bored. Like it can be boring. You're sitting there for long periods of time. Sometimes you're not talking because the person, you know, they're focusing. You're trying to distract yourself from the pain. Sometimes it can be quite boring. So take things to keep yourself occupied. I know certain tattoos can be difficult. When I'm getting tattooed like here, I couldn't really do that much. I kind of was on my phone a little bit, but it's very difficult. I can't play on like a Game Boy or something. A Game Boy? Like I can't play games really with one hand. If you're doing something on my stomach, it could be, it's not the nicest thing to hold something above your head. Take something to entertain yourself, magazines, phone, you know, games consoles. You've got a Stream Deck, just something. Take something that's going to keep you occupied. Both of my tattoo artists, they allow me to play my music on their speakers. So I play my music, which keeps me calm. I, you know, can change things on, they've got TVs and stuff. I can put the song on the TV if I really wanted to. I can, you know, draw this stuff. So, you know, I'm very lucky that I'm able to do that. And if you start getting bored, that's when you start focusing on the pain, because that's all you can think about. And that's when it hurts more. Another question is, what do you do about touch-ups? Now, it's very normal. One thing I will say about color, like that I said earlier, that's a bit different than black and gray. With color, it's more common to need a touch up prior to, like after having the tattoo, just because sometimes with the blending, it does take a little bit longer, and one or two bits is, you know, sometimes it can come, bits of ink might come out a little bit. There's a little bit on the, you can see the Warrior's, if you look at Warrior's head, there's a tiny bit on the side, I can't see from my angle, but there's a tiny bit here. The purple we need to go over again, just a little bit came out, and it's very normal for like color to, you know, be a bit different like that. But I don't feel like I know any tattoo artists that don't do some kind of touch-up work for free, unless you suddenly go like, oh, actually, can you put a skull here, and you've got like a slight cover-up. That's different. Every 10 years you could get a refresh in a tattoo, and it's fine. A lot of it is personal preference, to be honest. It's not so much of do you need it, it's if you want it, and if you can afford it, go for it, girl. I think as long as my, you know, I know this career is not going to last forever, but like, as long as I have some kind of money in my life, whatever, I will, you know, continually go for touch-ups throughout my life, so my tattoos can stay at least somewhat bright and vibrant. Things like the fingers, I definitely need that done again, because the ink in your fingers, it's so difficult for it to sit in. So if you see, you know, the ends of here, you can kind of see the ink is a bit dotty, and all of it came out of my knuckles. So things like that, if you're going to get a lot of the touch-up stuff, again, it depends on where you're getting it done. On my arm here, I've not really had to do anything, but my knuckles, I will. So when it comes to touch-up work, it's honestly, a lot of it's personal preference if you need it. It's more so if you want it. Yes, sometimes a bit of the ink might heal a bit weird. It's very common. It's not, you know, this isn't, please don't worry if you see a little bit of a tattoo and, oh, that bit of the ink came out there. It's quite normal, especially like if you're going to get, like statistically speaking, if you're someone like me who's going to get a lot of tattoo work done, I'm gonna have bits that's gonna need touch-ups. Like, you can't have a flawless record all the time. Another question actually goes back to a video I made a little while ago, and someone asked me if I still had my tattoo anxiety. No, I feel like I've definitely gotten over that. I've been over that for a long time. If you don't know what that means, if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, essentially, I was saying that when I first started getting tattooed, because I was getting tattooed very fast, I've slowed down a lot more in the past year just because I've moved away from London and my, you know, financial situation is slightly different than what it was when I was living there. But when I first started getting tattooed, I was getting like a tattoo session like every couple of weeks. And to go from no tattoos whatsoever to being quite covered very fast, it gave me a little bit of anxiety because the attention that I was getting from people was suddenly so different than what I was used to compared to piercing attention. Because my piercings, I was getting piercings, well, like throughout my entire life. I've been getting piercings since I was 18. So from like 18 to 25, when was my last piercing? 30. I was about 31 when I had my last piercing. It was just before the lockdown stuff happened. It was easier to get used to the attention that you would get over time, whereas getting tattooed quickly, it was very like jarring to suddenly have strangers really looking at you, grabbing hold of you, touching, talking to you, because people look at you and go, oh, you've reminded me of something, and it gives you that. So that was a lot to get used to. I've been over that for a long time now. There are some times where I might wear a long sleeve t-shirt or a jumper sometimes, just not because I get it, not because I don't like them, but it's sometimes I just want to be a little bit less noticeable, I guess. If I feel a bit, sometimes I don't feel like the best. Sometimes you just wake up and you're just not in the mood. No matter how happy someone is, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I cannot be bothered with attention today if I go out or something. So I might wear a jumper just so I don't have as much people looking at me or something. I will say Brighton has been very different. Because Brighton is very alternative, I don't actually stand out here as much as, like I said, like I would do in London. Even though London's like the biggest multicultural place in the UK or whatever, I would actually still stand out quite a lot there. I knew that it was going to happen. I just don't think I realized it was going to be to that extent, which then gave me a little bit of anxiety of going out and having my arms out sometimes, because I was like, I cannot be bothered with the attention. Because sometimes it is annoying, but I'm over that now. Like that was a long time ago. But keep that in mind, by the way, if you do want to get lots of tattoos, especially if you want to get things like what I've got, which are heavily based on nostalgia, and that will remind people of things, because people will touch you. People will come up to you, and it's not great, but it's going to happen, especially if you're going to go anywhere where there's alcohol. You bit of alcohol on someone or drugs or something, you know, and a lot of their sort of filters come down. I go out mostly to day race, but I do go out a lot, you know, into my little hardcore parties, hard house and trance and all that stuff. And it's got a lot of drugs involved. I mean, I don't take any myself, but people get drunk and all that stuff. You go in those things. I can at least say it once or twice, at least in every evening. I mean, I'll get a lot of attention anyway, but once or twice, I will at least get people come up to me and just grab my arm. Like, just fully grab my arm. Oh, I love it. Because they're a bit drunk and they've kind of lost their filter a bit. So just that, you will get attention. That is one thing that you do need to get used to. So if you're going to do something what I did, where you got tattooed very fast, that can be quite jarring to begin with, because suddenly you have to get used to it. Which is why I always tell people when they get like an entire limb covered in one day, when they go under sedation, I'm like, this is so stupid, because not only is the healing process going to be awful, there are also a lot of like, you know, societal things that change about you when you're heavily tattooed, and suddenly going from nothing to all that in one go, it's going to be a jarring experience. So I think we'll leave it there. The thing is, there was like 10 more questions, but like, I mean, I guess I could do another video. This video has already been, I don't know, I'm moving the microphone. This video has already been long enough. But thank you so much for watching today's video. Yeah, I hope this answered a few of your questions. And yes, Jesus Christ, I'm going to be, oh God, I'm so excited to be done with tattooing though. I'm so excited just to be like, can we just hang out now and have fun instead of causing me pain? Because the thing is, all my like painful areas are left. It's just the painful areas left. I don't have any sort of area now that's like easy going. I mean, when we do touch-ups and things on my arms, it's like nothing. Now, all this is gonna suck. My armpits are gonna suck. Like the rest of the sort of side bit here is gonna suck. Some of my lower back's probably gonna suck. So I've already got the painful areas left, but that's going to be fun to deal with. So I just kind of want us to be over at this point. But thank you for all the questions. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you for all the lovely comments and everything. And hopefully this answered some more of your questions and maybe it helped you feel better about certain things if you want to get tattoos yourself. Again, yeah, please don't be scared of color. Please don't be scared of getting like all this stuff. Just like do what you want to do. If you want something, just go and do it. Don't be scared of, even if you get like it might be a bit cringe sometimes. Like if you really want to get a line with a clock and it makes you unbelievably happy, just do it. As long as you go in knowing that people are going to be a bit cringed about it, as long as it makes you happy, you go do it. Just make sure you get it done well. Just do what you want. Anyway, thank you for watching today. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and yeah, make sure you go check out my most recent video on my main YouTube channel. That was a TikTok reaction fail of tattoo stuff. And my next video after that, hopefully the copyright gets lifted. It's the American version of Tattoo Too Far, or Tattoo of Us. Different names, same show. So that's gonna be fun. And I've already filmed the next one, the UK one as well. Because of the copyright stuff, I have to film them quite far in advance. So that's all done. But yeah, thank you for the love. Lots of love. I'll see you very soon. And yeah, bye guys.